Welcome back to Try Before We Die, the whiskey review show where we don't know what we're drinking, but we'll tell you what we're thinking. I'm Colin, this is my pal Mal, and you know what's really hard in life, Mal?
This show will never end because we will never get done drinking these bottles. Yep, I'm right with you.
I was going to go with being right. But you're right too, so it's just hard sometimes. But you got to muscle through, just like we got to muscle through these bottles.
Go ahead.
All right.
Again?
Red Randy is still with us. Let's see what we're going to drink tonight. Red Randy, send bottle number...
Hopefully we don't have to move this time.
Oh, 218 on over. That puts us up on the top shelf in the back side. We'll see what it is when we get there. Bottle 218. All right, here we are on the backside. Can everybody see this microphone? It really works well. All right, so we're for bottle 218. 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. All right, here we go. We've got this Highland Single Malt Scotch Whisky, the Dalwhinnie 15-year-old. We were sandwiched by distiller editions from different years. I don't have the most current release distiller's edition with no age statement, so those are all age statement Dalwhinnies. But this is their 15-year-old, coming in at 43%, this Highland Single Malt Scotch Whisky. This is the Dalwhinnie Release. The 15-year-old is their core, their classic. Anywhere you find a Dalwhinnie for sale, you will find this bottle for sale. So we'll head back to the bar and see what Malcolm thinks about this Highland Single Malt Scotch Whisky. Now, do you remember when I used to shave?
Actually, no, probably not.
It's been a while. I'm coming up on 5 years no shaving. So you too can beard it up if you don't shave it off. I'd like you to try.
No.
Really?
Yeah, no.
When are you going to throw the towel in?
I'm not ready to give it a towel.
Okay. All right. So this is this Dalwhinnie, this Highland, this 15-year-old. You've seen this bottle before many
I have
times.
seen that bottle. But you know what? I don't think I've ever had a Dalwhinnie.
So Mal may not recall.
No.
But if you're a regular viewer, that's not surprising to you. Mal, you have had the Dalwhinnie.
Really?
Yeah. In fact, just a few short weeks ago,
Really?
we had this year's Distiller's Edition release.
Wow.
It is a true story, and that was courtesy of Meg. Thanks, Meg,
Oh.
for all you do with the bar.
Yes.
Oh, now he remembers.
Because you said Meg.
Okay. This 15-year-old, a favorite of our friend Felix, also probably in the top 5 of our friend Big Red. What do you think?
Felix says like everything is his favorite though.
Is it going to fall out or pop out?
It's going to pop out. Ooh. That's a little disappointing.
Well, just in terms of hoping for a symphony release. All right, here we go. All right, so this is the 15-year-old Dalwhinnie. This has been here for a spell, but it is a core release and it is widely available. I'm just looking to see if I see any words related to coloration or chill filtration. I don't see anything. We're coming in at 43. I think this could be a either or. It doesn't automatically scream no color added, non-chill filtered. Again, I think because of the low ABV and because of the well-known established, quantity that this is released in year after year. Hope to be wrong. 43. All right, Malcolm. Do you like the traditional or the tall, slender whiskey bottles? Do you like these portly bottles? What's your... And I know there's other ones. There's the Glenfiddich Triangle. There's the Glenturret Square that expands. The Isle of Rasay Rectangle. One? Right?
Was that Glenturret was the fluted one?
Glenturret's the fluted. But if we're just between the squat bottle or the traditional round slender bottle, the Scapa 16, right? The Macrimores, things like that. What's your preference?
I like the taller ones.
You like the taller ones?
Yes.
Okay. The Glenfiddich 15-year-old. This is a classic core release of this Highland.
Dalwhinnie.
What did I say?
Glenfiddich.
I got caught up in something else.
got-
I was
'cause you
thinking
went
about
for the
bottle
tall.
shapes.
You went for the
right?
tall.
Yeah, the triangles. Right. This classic Highland Single Malt release from Dalwhinnie. What do you got for a color? Light, bordering on medium gold.
I'd agree with you.
Yep.
I wanted to say some sort of yellow amber, but I don't really get the orange tones. So I agree with you. It's more of a gold.
Right. I mean, I think when we look at this bottle, I mean, there's gold in there.
Yeah. And I think from
gold
looking
in.
at this, I'm starting to, but I think it's our background that's freaking giving that shade.
Yeah, and right, and of course the bar, right, sort
Yes.
of reflecting up on it.
But I like gold.
I do feel like we're in a gold whiskey. Checking your glass. Oh, you have legs developing all
Yep.
around the top, just starting to come down.
You do too. The Stein.
Can you see them down there?
Yep.
I haven't found them on my glass yet.
Oh yeah. On the back side, you've got the top. Your top layer is starting to come down.
Oh, okay.
And you
Yep.
got like a good one right in
Right
about
there.
somewhere.
Yeah. I really see it in your glass, and which again makes sense that you're seeing it in my glass. All right, so good legs developing, nice and slow.
Yep.
Right? Coming in at 43%, so it's hard to predict a mouthfeel or oily. But at 15%, 15-year-old, 43%, we're not into, it doesn't appear that we're in any sort of a sherry casking or a red wine casking or even a wine casking of any sort, because it just would have to be noted on the label. So it just seems like that we have, American oak casks, likely some ex-bourbons, could be a range of first fill and second fill, creating a very consistent release. We'll see what we can find out about the Dalwhinnie 15-year-old in terms of whatever information's out there. But we're in this gold.
Yes.
Let's take a nose. Little punchy.
Yeah.
Still.
Yeah.
Third one, it's getting a little tired, but it's still punching. But now that it's seen oxygen, I'll tell you, I'm watching as the liquid rolls up the glass and it stops and it hangs and runs just develop.
Yeah. All right.
Right?
I can see that.
Do you see? I mean, it's really expanding in the glass right now. Whereas the earlier swishes didn't yield legs immediately. But now these legs are all over the place. It bodes well. So I've had this before.
Okay.
You recall having had this before, right?
I
You
couldn't remember the one that we
but
did.
then
Yeah.
2 weeks ago you had some. So I have had this before, but it has been a spell. And I would say anywhere from 6 to 9 years since I've had a glass of the Dalwhinnie 15. I'm confident I had a glass, several in 2010 while we were in Scotland. And I know our friend Felix has brought a few around to paintball games, but we're getting into the 2015s and earlier. So it's been a while. I was very impressed with the Distiller's Edition, this year's release, no age statement from Diageo. I was hesitant because they took the distillation and bottling years off the label. I was nervous about that, but it delivered a really nice drink. This has been here for years. Picking up any flavors now that it's relaxed.
I want to say cotton candy.
All right, tell me a little bit more. We're in the carnival.
We're in the carnival.
It's the cooked warm sugar.
Yep.
All right. Is it a white cotton candy, a red, a green, anything
red.
going on with it? Red.
It's definitely something. There's definitely something candied there. But when it started to ease itself back, that initial smell, I was like that when you have it in a bag or you're at the machine and it's going round and you can smell that flavor come off it. But there's something candied there.
All right, so I'm trying to stay with your cotton candy. I'm not sure if I'm in the red yet.
But I will say this: every time I try to take a deep draw of this, I get a piercing sensation in my nose.
2/3 of the way up.
Yeah.
And after.
Yes.
Yep. How about marshmallow fluff? Which isn't completely dissimilar to a cotton candy, right?
Yeah, that toasted.
It's a sugar that's been cooked up and melted, and for a cotton candy and spun, and for a fluff stirred.
It's definitely something.
So this would be a James Bond. I'll have a glass of sugar, fluffed,
Not stirred.
stirred.
There's definitely something there, and I can see where you're going with this marshmallow fluff.
I can see where you're going with this cotton candy. I'm just not going to the red side. I'm going more to just the straight sugar.
But it's definitely a very sweet smell.
I'll agree with you. Which lends itself again to that American oak, possibly some of the barrels holding bourbon. Maybe second fill. All right.
Okay.
Let's try it. The Dalwhinnie 15. Classic
Cheers.
expression from this distillery coming in at 43%. Burnt sugar on my tongue. Not blackened, just turned to brown on my tongue as I held it in the front of my mouth. And as I rolled it back, it expanded into something.
I want to say
warm.
nutty,
Yeah, yeah.
like porridge, like a oaty sort of taste.
I feel like I'm finishing there in nutty. And it's resting on my tongue as nutty at the end. But I think the middle was warm and was warm. As I go from brown, just barely turned sugar to something warming to that nutty ending.
And there's some heat to this as well. Like, it's much more aggressive on the backside of my palate than I gave it the 43. There's a lot more happening in the back of my mouth that I really wanted to happen. I thought it was going to be a lot smoother. This is much more abrasive in the sense that I'm getting this heat.
Front, middle, or back? Where's your abrasive?
At the back.
I'm in the middle.
Okay.
And I'm going to go with it's warm. It's warming. I don't know about abrasive.
Okay.
Right, but that's where I'm having that sensation in the middle. I have a nutty, not creamy.
Yep.
So it's like and I'm getting no peanut butter notes.
No.
But a chunky peanut butter nut versus a creamy.
Something crunchy.
Right. But it's not a peanut, but just in terms of the difference between a creamy peanut butter and a chunky peanut butter. One is smooth, one is creamy, right? This isn't smooth or creamy at the end. It's chunky nutty.
But it's abrupt, and it all happens here and above. I've got nothing in here.
No, nothing. Nothing has moved down.
But like right here, into like where the little punch bag is, that's where I feel this. And then the front of the mouth is where all the flavor happens. This sweetness that we.
Do you have like a just barely turned sugar moving into brown, a cooked sugar on the front?
Yeah, like a confectionery sugar.
Well, right, because if that's what we're going to make that cotton candy or that marshmallow fluff, right? We've heated that sugar up to the point where we can spin it or stir it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's like a nutty.
And you're like, oh my gosh, it's been cooking too long, and you've turned it off, and you just beat it browning.
But that heat for me now is turning into something more numbing. Like, I'm really struggling with this, as in the sense there are bits and pieces of this that are not calculating the way I thought it was going to be. I figured this was just going to be really easy going. This is now forcing me to think about what I'm drinking.
It's the Highland,
Yep.
right? And so remember, all Speyside are Highlands, but not all Highlands are Speyside. So this is falling a little bit more into some of those more classic Highland notes. It feels a little chunky as a drink. It really seems to have a front, middle, and a back.
Yes.
Right? Without this really smooth transitions. There's no jam between the flavors, right? In terms of music, right? It's not like a smooth, it's like boom, bang, boom. It's not la-di-da. It's boom, bang, boom.
But it's very flavorful.
There's a lot going on here with the flavors, right? I mean, I've emptied my glass.
And I would like to think that, if I had a better palate, I'd be able to pull some of these flavors out. But it really is flavorful. But it's not your A to B and you just go. This is A to B to C to D to E before you're done. And that numbness and that heat that I'm getting in the back just throws it for a loop.
I agree with you on the heat. I'm nutty in the back. I don't know about numb. And I am in the sugar in the front. Just in terms of the origin of this sugar flavor, right? Is it a caramel? No. Is it a butterscotch? No. Right? Is it a toffee? No. Is it just a cane sugar that's been cooked? It seems like, and again, I mean, no, but it may be more along those lines than some sort of, I'm just not picking up on something so recognizable as the source of the sugar.
No, and the more I smell it now, it's like even more relaxed, the more I get that sugary, whatever we want to call it.
But just sugar.
Yes.
Right, I think it's just sugar. Right, it's not a molasses.
Nope.
It's not a honey. It's not a maple syrup. It's not all these like so identifiable sugars, right? It really seems it's sugar.
Yes.
It's cooked sugar, pre-caramelized.
Yes.
It's been warmed up. It started to turn. The heat got turned off. And you could spin it or you could stir it. All right, this Dalwhinnie, this 15-year-old Highland Single Malt Scotch Whisky, really represents itself in distinct stages with some warmth, some nuttiness, some numbness, some sweetness.
Tasty,
right?
though.
Right, absolutely fine. In many ways, stimulating like a Highland would be.
Yes.
Right? This isn't maritime. It's not salty. This feels foothills halfway up the mountain, perhaps.
I think just to throw this out, I think because we're so used to doing the bourbon sherry cask, this is like a complete 180. And I was not ready to deal with something along these lines based on what we were talking 43, age. I like it, but it's different.
Yeah. Right. It's not playing to the boutique game.
Correct.
Yes. All right. The Dalwhinnie 15-year-old coming in at 43. You'll find this one everywhere. Let's see what the crew has for us.
Go ahead.
Here's to cheating, stealing, and killing. Cheating death, stealing hearts, and killing bottles.
The sugar on that is just amazingly sugary.
It feels like this is a Highland. Right?
Yes.
There are no notes of Speyside. There are no notes of Lowland. There are no notes of Islay. And it just seems too rugged to be an island.
Correct.
Right. This is a Highland Single Malt Scotch Whisky. I enjoy it. It's chunky.
Like I said, it's that change up that you're not expecting. You get so set in your ways, but this thing, it really has that it's rugged in the sense that I'm going to give you some taste that you're not going to be ready for.
With a bearded man and a British guy,